Welkom bij een nieuwe aflevering van de Data Discovery Channel. Vandaag zijn we in Utrecht op Data Saturday en daar hebben we een hele hoop mooie gasten vandaag. En een van die gasten, the first guest, and I switch to English, is Bob Ward. Bob Ward, welcome.
Thank you.
You're kind of a legend to me, at least, and I think to a lot of people in SQL Server land. So very honored to have you here.
Well, thanks for being here. I don't know about a legend, but certainly been around for a while and certainly love talking about SQL Server.
Exactly. So that's what we are going to talk about mainly. Bob, you are well known for all the knowledge you have about SQL Server. When I'm working with our customers in SQL Server context, I quite regularly get the remark, SQL Server, that's old school. What's your response to that? You must hear that as well, right?
I do. I like it, though. I think there's actually a great thing for being considered old school because it means that you're trusted, you're valued, you've been persistent over time to be very good for your customers.
Yeah.
But I think in SQL Server 2025, I think we've proven that we're also innovative. You know, if you think about traditional old school, it's all about the relational engine.
Yeah, exactly.
Query processing, how fast are you, availability, security, all those great things, right?
Yeah.
The thing about in SQL 25, AI built in, like all of a sudden now we're going to allow to do things like vector searching built into the security of the SQL Server engine. I think it's the most significant release for developers in a decade. Native JSON support built into the product, things like regular expressions built into the T-SQL language now. You can even do event stream patterns like change event streaming, do REST APIs through the engine, do a stored procedure. I mean, there's all sorts of things for developers now built into the engine. Combine that with AI technology, it's a little bit of innovative, right? It's groundbreaking moving forward based on that tradition of the proven engine.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned already a lot of new features. I must admit that I haven't watched SQL Server 2025, what's coming. Okay. It's in preview, right?
Yeah, right now we're in public preview. Yeah. I get this question all the time, guys. Yeah. When is it going to come out?
No, I won't ask you that because I know the answer.
Well, it's a great answer because it's a really true story. We actually intentionally put a year name next to SQL Server when we announced it. We announced it last November. Yeah. So we announced it in 2024. But we wanted our customers to know that by the end of 25, you're going to get it.
Like no matter what. We're really close then.
Absolutely, we're very close. What are we? I think it's October right now.
It's already October.
Yeah. So we're very, very close. And it's a very intentional, great mission for us at Microsoft because it really time bounds us to make sure that release is going to be out. And it gives customers assurance that it is going to be out. So yeah, we're in preview still right now. We just announced our release candidate builds. Yeah. And in the history of our product, whenever Microsoft does that, that means you're very, very close to getting the general availability. So yeah, we're really good at announcing things at big events too. You know?
Yeah. So maybe SQL Pass or Ignite or
that would be a great idea. I have this kind of funny phrase: "We don't miss the name." SQL 25. I might be out of a job if we do that, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, we're very close. Very excited about it. Great feedback. Did you know that we had twice as many customers download the preview as in the previous release?
Really?
As many.
Wow.
Yes.
So there's a lot of interest.
Huge interest in it. Yeah. And I think it's because not just that proven engine, old school you talked about. Yeah. It's about these new developer capabilities. It's about AI. People are really trying to explore, should I use AI technologies in my company? Yeah. And here's the cool thing about AI. You do it totally on-prem. Like you do not have to be connected to the cloud with SQL 25. We've provided a model and a framework to get to use AI technologies totally on-prem if you want to do it.
Talking about that, that's an interesting remark that you now make. Here in Europe, as you probably know, there's a lot of, how do I call it? Doubts about...
concern.
Concerns about going to the big cloud companies like Microsoft. So this is really an opportunity to do it outside of the cloud. I know that there were plans in the past to fully go to cloud with SQL Server as well. What's the current status of those plans? For our European watches?
No, it's a great question. We have this kind of a phrase I use called ground to cloud to fabric. Yeah. If you bet SQL Server 2025, that's ground, right? Yeah. You can actually connect SQL Server to the cloud with Arc if you want to go do that, and customers do it. Mm-hmm. If you want to stay totally on premises, we support that, and all the innovations we have are there available to you, right? Cloud is Azure SQL, so if you want to go to that path, you can actually go there as well. And we have a new database now running in Microsoft Fabric. The cool thing is that's the same code base for all of those things.
Yeah.
So I have customers, in fact, I saw them here at the events that I had this week when I was here in the Netherlands that told me, I'm in all those places. I'm on the ground, I'm some in the cloud, I'm some in the fabric as well. Yeah. What they love about it, it's the same T-SQL language.
Yeah.
So it's consistent, right? Yeah. even though it may show up a little uniquely in cloud or Fabric and so forth or on premises, it's still available in a consistent way. But yeah, no question that one of the promises of SQL 25 is that if you choose to stay totally on premises, you can do that. And by the way, if you start making that move and you upgrade to 2025, and let's say a couple of years from now you say, I am ready to make that move to the cloud, you're ready to do it because you've already invested in the innovation like AI, which is the same running in the cloud.
Exactly. So that makes the step smaller to go to the cloud eventually.
Correct. And I've had customers tell me that, like, hey, I'm going to go and make this move to 25 because I am going to move to the cloud at some point, but I'd rather get updated with all this technology you have right now. That's going to lend me in an easier way to make that move to the cloud.
Yeah. Okay,
you mentioned a huge list of new capabilities.
Yes.
Are there any specific capabilities that people are most interested in?
The two that I kind of mentioned already, and I'll talk about, first is this vector concept.
Yeah.
So many of your audience here has probably used full text search before, or like clauses or something to look at their text data.
Yeah.
Now imagine you using an AI model to actually do searching on your text data in a smarter way. Because you're going to use the natural language capabilities of an AI model that understands language. It doesn't matter, it could be Dutch, it could be English. And then you can start searching for data using this kind of like more AI model type base. We call it vector searching, using numbers. That's been very popular. People are really looking at this because they have existing text data and they're like, okay, this is pretty cool. And especially because those AI models to use could be on-prem. To make those decisions. You control the model. So we've created a really interesting framework where you choose the model, you run the model where you want it, and everything's T-SQL based.
Yeah.
So people concerned about security are fine because we're using T-SQL to do all of this.
Yeah, and people who have been using SQL for years also can still use T-SQL to...
That's right. Everything for AI, for SQL 25 is all T-SQL based. So think about the security boundary of T-SQL objects and so forth. That's all there for you. In fact, I had a customer say, how do I turn this off? Yeah, I know, it's funny, right? And when I told him, I said, no, you're asking the wrong question. How do I turn it on? It's not on by default. Like you've got to go enable these things to use it even in SQL Server 2025. So vector search out of the gate, a lot of people testing and trying that. The next one's a JSON. So you have a lot of developers out there that have moved to a paradigm as a programmer to use more JSON document-based applications.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then they're having to choose different databases to do. So we introduced JSON support back in SQL 16, all character-based. It's all right, but it wasn't native JSON.
Yeah, exactly. You could use it, but was not native.
And it would bloat your database because it's all characters, right? So now we have a native JSON type that we store in a binary format. Up to 2 gigabytes per JSON document can be stored.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive. And also it compresses the size of the data. In fact, one of our MVPs did a study where it saved him 60% of storage by going to this JSON native data.
Oh, that's
which means less I/O, less page reads, those kind of types, right? So having that JSON data type is really important. There's a built-in operator at the T-SQL level, so you can modify values just natively.
Yeah.
Then there's a JSON index. So if you're trying to search for very large JSON documents in a kind of a nested way, you can use T-SQL function. Again, it's all T-SQL based.
Yeah.
We provided a set of T-SQL functions to aggregate JSON documents, search for JSON values, however you want to go use JSON and manipulate it, all T-SQL based and integrated with our drivers.
Wow.
It's almost like having a document database inside your SQL Server.
I don't know if you've heard of Microsoft Mechanics before. Jeremy Chapman's a famous person that hosts Microsoft Mechanics. I was on with him in May.
Yeah.
And he said, Bob, it's kind of like a NoSQL database in your database.
Exactly.
And I said, that's exactly what it is. So that's true. That's been very, very popular. I would say the third option that has been extremely popular is a core engine feature. I'm an engine guy from way back.
Yeah.
It's called optimized locking. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Optimize locking.
Optimized locking, yeah.
Okay.
So have you ever run into problems where as a developer, you just get like lock escalation problems? Or
Yes.
Oh, of course not. Of course
not.
Never.
Nobody hits this, right?
Never.
I mean, my contention is developers don't want to deal with locking. Like, I just want to build my app. I want it to be concurrent. And I believe if your app is more concurrent, it performs better. So optimized locking is going to use a concept called versioning in the database, accelerated database recovery. We're going to take advantage of that. And we're going to start locking transactions instead of locking rows.
Okay.
Because these versions have transactions tied to them.
Yeah.
By doing that, we require less locks, and you're way more concurrent. So these are database options you set on. You don't change your code. You just literally get rid of lock escalation as a problem. Totally get rid of it.
Wow.
And then you have other updates that might be running into each other because the way we acquire locks to go find a row, that goes away as well. So we had a really huge positive response from this. It does require a few database options to turn on, but I've had customers, hey, go try it, see what it looks like, and they're seeing performance better just because you're more concurrent. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all in the engine. That just comes from SQL Server.
Now I started my question with asking, is SQL Server old school? Well, I think you answered that. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's both. You know what? I think it's both.
Yeah.
Think about optimized locking. That's just us just making locking better, which is just a tried and true part of your application.
Yes.
Right? That's old school.
Yeah.
But AI and JSON, that's new school,
that's
right?
new
So
school, right.
I kind of think of innovation based on a foundation proven engine we've had over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very solid foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I can turn the question around. Why would you not use SQL Server
2025?
2025 or
You know, I think we have a lot of customers out there, and I don't blame them. They're on older versions of SQL Server, and it just works great. I think of SQL 16 right now. SQL 16 is going to go out of support in 2026.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of customers are like, so?
What am I going to do next?
It just works, right? But you do have that end of support decision to make. So now you got to decide what to do. Like, should I migrate to a cloud? Should I upgrade to SQL 25? Like, what choice do I make? So many of my customers are in that mode where they're in SQL 16 right now. They're just like, I'm not sure what to do. And so they're taking a hard look at 25. So instead of going to 19 or 2022 or even 17, they may make that leap to 25 simply because they're running out of support. And for those customers, by the way, they'll just use the database compat level that we support for 16. They'll make the move, and they haven't even looked at these new features. They just got to serve the out of support problem.
Yeah.
Right? But then once they get there, they might start looking at what all these features look like and decide.
Yeah, once you have them available, then it's also easier to, see if there's anything that you might use.
As a developer, there's one other very interesting thing we've added. You know, one of the things about this release we tried to do is make sure we address customer feedback that's been around forever.
Yeah.
So one of them is an idea called Standard Developer Edition. This is pretty interesting. You're a developer. You're trying to develop for free, but you're going to go in production for standard.
Yeah.
But Developer Edition behaves like Enterprise Edition.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
So
Yeah.
you might use
It's always
features
Right. So
during
you want to be able to
development.
develop and it act like standard, and we have that now. So when you
so you
install
can-
Developer Edition, you get two choices. I want you to behave like Enterprise Edition. I want you to behave like Standard Edition.
Oh, that's a well.
Huge, great positive
Yeah.
response for developers for this one. So, and that's available right now in preview. You can kind of try it out if you.
Yeah, that's really great because I've seen for myself in the past that you start using features and then you go to production and you're like, oh wait, I can't even
I didn't
use
test
these
these limits, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's going to be a very popular one. We've already had some good positive feedback from developers, for sure.
Yeah. You wrote your book about the combination of SQL Server and Fabric.
Which book is this?
That's the latest,
latest one,
the SQL Server 2025 Unveiled.
Wow, that's
The
really
AI
funny.
ready
How did
document?
you find that? Did you find out that I wrote a new book?
Yes.
Yeah, so it hasn't come out officially.
Promotion.
It hasn't come out officially, but yes. So in the tradition that I've done in the last few releases, there will be a book coming out for SQL Server 2025 Unveiled, and it will cover all of what I just talked to you about and more. So and it includes also Fabric integration, which is something that's interesting customers are looking at.
What's so interesting about the integration between SQL Server
And
Fabric?
Fabric, yeah. Well, a lot of people first are like, what is Fabric? I don't even know what that is, right? First, one of the things I love about Fabric is this idea called One Lake.
Yeah.
It's a very unified lake house that all of Fabric, relies on.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a SQL Server customer and you want to offload your data for analytics somewhere else. Well, what do you do today? Availability groups, transactional replication maybe. Do you have other options to copy your data somewhere else? And then you run reporting over somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
This is a new option. So we will automatically copy and synchronize your database into Fabric, into this one lake, which is
Okay.
called Delta Parquet. That's the format.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, you just use Fabric to your needs. Power BI, analytics, machine learning. You can even join that data with other mirrored databases because mirroring for SQL is supported on SQL Server 25, SQL 16 through 2022, Azure SQL Database, and Managed Instance. I did a demo where I brought in a database from all four of those and I joined them together in the Fabric. Because this one lake, when you look at it, it looks like a database to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you
so-
can use T-SQL queries to go run access, but what people mostly want to do is run Power BI.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good value proposition. So think of it as a way of getting near real-time analytics away from your operational data, but do it all in Microsoft Fabric.
Yeah, cool. So you don't load the operational database. You
Right.
Yeah, you offload
And
it.
another thing that's really impressive is the storage for this mirroring is free. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this kind of Fabric capacity. It's how you pay
Yeah,
for
I know.
Fabric.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get 1 terabyte per capacity unit. So a lot of people use like F64 as a good example.
Yeah.
That's 64 terabytes of free mirrored storage for you.
Wow.
And then you only just pay when you consume it with queries. So that's kind of compelling to have my my offloaded storage to be of no charge to me and just pay for when I use it.
And then you have it all available in Fabric, and then you can start using it.
That's when I've spoken at the Fabric conference. In fact, I was in Vienna just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Fabric mirroring is the most popular option I've seen for SQL Server users at these events. Like people overflowing our rooms to hear us talk about it because they're interested to get their current data inside the Fabric.
Yeah, of course.
That sounds like a very interesting proposition.
Yeah, and so that's one of the other value props for SQL 25 too.
Yeah. And no need to write even the simple ETL, but you have to do
no
something.
ETL, no ETL, right?
Yeah.
Just put it in there. And if you want to do ETL, you can do it. Once you put it in one lake, you can go do that.
Yeah,
you can transform
of
it all
course.
inside
Yeah.
Fabric. Pipelines, however you want data flows, however you want to go do it.
Very interesting, very interesting. One other topic. We started with here in Europe. There's a lot of concerns about the big tech companies. So you see a growing interest in open source databases like Postgres.
Sure.
What's your view on that development?
I got an easy view there. So, and I deal with customers that have asked me this question many times. I first ask them whether open source is the right path for them, how they're getting supported for it. Like our Azure Postgres is really good. So if you want to go and get a great support experience for using Postgres, do it with us, like in Azure.
Yeah.
And so if customers tell me, like, I have to use open source, I would just say take a hard look at our Azure version, right? Because all the innovation that we do in the Azure platform, we put it there. Things you see in Azure SQL that we do are even in Azure Postgres, right, available to you.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you are just going to use pure open source, do you really have an enterprise support setup, a commercial support, like mission critical? And if you don't have that, then maybe SQL Server is still your best option. So that's generally the discussion I have. But I have plenty of people that tell me, Bob, I have to use open source. And I'm like, great, just use ours. Just use the one in Azure.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty good. So.
Yeah. But then you're still on the big cloud.
Well, you know, I have people using Postgres on-prem as well, and that's great. If they want to do it, I think that's fantastic. I just tell them, just make sure that all the security features, all the critical, mission-critical things are there. The other thing also about Postgres sometimes can be challenging is a lot of the innovation in Postgres is done through extensions that are that are not part of the mainstream source and is written by somebody else.
So you have to add
supported
them
by
yourself.
somebody else. So you got to support it yourself. Column store is a good example. That's built into the SQL engine. Yet for Postgres, that's an extension. In some cases, also in the cloud providers, they don't allow you to install these extensions. So you know,
So
if
you
you
have
want
a limited set then.
a little bit, yeah. So it's still a great. Believe me, I like Postgres. I have a lot of fans that use Postgres. But for them, I first ask them all those questions, and then I say, "Well, that's a problem." I'm like, "Well, then use SQL Server." And by the way, a lot of people still forget we run on Linux. So you know, they're like, "Well, Bob, I have to be on Linux." I'm like, "We've got SQL Server on Linux."
Yeah.
And then they say, "Well, I want to develop for free on Linux." I'm use Developer Edition.
Yeah.
So use Developer Edition on Linux for SQL. Then, of course, you need to pay for a subscription when you go to use it on Linux. But we work in containers, Kubernetes, just on Linux packages, Red Hat, Ubuntu, SLES. I mean, all of those options. And so I have several developers that didn't even know we run on Linux platforms.
I know for a long period of time already, but good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
I think we answered all the questions that we wanted, or
Yeah, I think so.
did I forget anything? I don't think so. I speaked on my.
Well, those are great questions.
Yeah.
I would just tell you, all your audience, as you started this discussion, are you old school? I am. I've been around a long time, right? But here's the difference. Look at me, Bob Ward. I've been here 32 years. I will still talk about the engine. I'm here today at Data Saturday. I'm going to be doing a talk just on the engine on SQL 25. But I was also here this past week at the Past Tour event and talked about AI. So I also myself transform what I do and talk about because I'm trying to keep up with innovation in the industry.
Yeah.
But I also know that that innovation cannot be possible without a core engine that's really good.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do here in this event today is talk about the innovations in the core engine.
Okay. Call to action, Bob.
Call to action, download SQL Server 2025.
Start using it.
It's for free. It's called aka.ms, get SQL Server 2025. Free to download. Free to download. Put it out there today. Give it a pace. Try it. Try the Developer Standard Edition.
Try those new features.
Try those new features. We've got great examples out there. Our documentation has all the information about how to start with AI for free. You can, for example, you could download AI Olama for free on your laptop, use our Developer Edition for free, and just try out a vector search example. Just see what it looks like. Right? So yeah, download it, give it a shot, and give us some feedback.
Wow, good call to action. And then, of course, buy a book when it comes out. When
I
is it
guess
available?
Whenever it's available, it might be a good idea, yes.
When is it available? We know when SQL Server
Great question.
2025.
Great question. It should be available before the end of 25.
like
Just like the
SQL
product.
Server.
Just
Okay.
like the product, yes, exactly.
Bob, it was really great talking to you. Thank you very
so
much
much
for your time.
Thanks
good
for
luck,
having me on.
Yeah, good luck today. When are you going home?
I am going home tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
so back
okay.
to Texas tomorrow from here.
Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex, that's right. I'm going to have some Tex-Mex as soon as I get back. That's right.
Okay, well, bon appetit.
Thank you very much.
And thank you again very much.
Thanks,
En,
thank you.
Tot de volgende aflevering van de Data Discovery Channel. Dankjewel.